Yo, what is up, you guys? This is LG, and we're back with another video. And today we're going to be talking about masteries. Specifically, we're going to go over what masteries I have, what masteries I think are the best, and we're going to be explaining some of these new masteries, and for any of you who don't understand or know what they're about. So, this is my setup, and it's best for me, but different masteries go well with different people and different champions, so you never know. So I've got 28 points in offense, 21 in defense, and 10 in utility. We'll start out with offense. Um, so we have one in these smaller masteries just because you've got to unlock at least 1 point in them to get to the next level of masteries. So we've got one in strength, which increases the attack, and then one in greater strength, which is a percentage-based increase of attack. Then we have 3 invested in Pierce, and Pierce is critical hits from your champions ignore an additional 15% armor. So basically, if you hit a Colossus or anyone with an armor up and it's a critical hit, it's going to ignore 15% of that additionally, so it's going to do more damage on critical hits. Then we have 1 in lesser precision, which is increasing the critical rate of all champs by 0.5%, and 1 in lesser cruelty, which increases the critical damage of all champions by 2%. That's so that we could get the main event, Precision. We maxed out Precision, which increases the critical rate of all champions by 10%. And then we also maxed out Cruelty, which increases the critical damage of all champions by 50%. Excuse me. So when you combine these two, you're getting increased chance for a crazy amount of damage, 50% increased damage. Someone like Iron Fist or anyone on a crit team like Electro, it destroys opponents. Moving on, these are the new masteries. They're expensive as hell. So trying to get these things maxed was awful. We're gonna start off. I have Despair, Deep Wounds, and Assassin all maxed out. But Unfazed, I didn't put any time into because I honestly think it's worthless. So we're going to start with Despair. So debuffs applied to enemies reduce their healing and regeneration effects by 15% each. So every debuff, so every armor break, every fatigue, every stun, any debuff that you apply to your enemy will reduce their healing and regeneration by 15% each. So you get a couple of these and they're going to stop regenerating entirely. So this is good on champions that have major regen in the end, like Iron Man when he's duped. It's good on Deadpool. It's a counter to Willpower. Willpower isn't, obviously after the nerf, it's not that good anymore. It's like easy to beat. But with this, it's just like it's non-existent almost. Next up, we have Deep Wounds, which affects the bleed of your champions, and it makes it last 1.5 seconds longer. And if they have more health points than the target, the bleed instantly strikes down an additional 0.6 max health from their enemies. And they're adding 2 more levels to this, so I'll probably invest in those 2 levels. I'll probably take 2 out of Salve and put them in this one. But I use Deadpool, and his second bleed is deadly. And adding an additional 1.5 seconds to that bleed makes it insanely better. On top of that, it makes people like Deadpool X-Force and Black Panther and Wolverine godly, because every hit they're hitting, they're inflicting this bleed that is automatically taking almost 1% of the max health from their enemies. So usually I'm in an arena and I'm fighting a rank 5 champion with Deadpool X-Force, and it usually takes me like 10 or 11 hits before they're dead. It's killer. Next up, we have Assassin. I think a lot of people don't really like this one or and know exactly what it means, but I love it. So against enemies below 18% health, your champions gain 60% attack and decrease enemies' defensive ability accuracy by 20%. Additionally, if enemies start the fight below 18%, your champions also gain 30% offensive ability accuracy. So basically, once you get down to 18% health, they're dead. They're gone. It speeds up fights so quick. Um, I find myself getting more critical hits, 60% increase on these damage on these hits. Additionally, when it says it decreases enemies' defensive ability accuracy, I don't think a lot of people understand what that means, but so far I didn't understand what it meant when I first got it. But basically what I've noticed is that champions will like not use their special 3 if they have it. And then also you could be attacking them while they're blocking, and then it'll just stop. They just can't block anymore, and you'll just start hitting them normally. So that's kind of nice. Once it's down to 18% health for them, I just hit them when they're blocking, and then they stop blocking. So you don't have to worry about that. All right, moving on to defense. We've got one in here that increases the health of all champs by 24, and then this is the greater vitality. Increases the health of all champions by 1.6%. That's just so that we can get to these ones up here. Salve. Your champions recover 4.0 twice per second for 60 seconds. No effects on robots. Honestly, I only need one in this, but I'm OCD about the weird numbers, and I don't like I just wanted it to be 5 per second because that's what it looks better that way. Then this is really good. Recovery increases any health your champions recover during the fight by 15%. So this crazy helps with Deadpool and any other champ that regens. Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, anyone that Wolverine. It's crazy. Then I got 1 in block proficiency, which increases the block proficiency of champions by 2%. 1 in perfect block. That gives a 1% chance to perform a perfect block. And then I maxed out Stand Your Ground. So when you're blocking, your champions have a 50% chance to resist a break block. So 50% is a good number. The reason I maxed it is because anything lower, you don't really... the percentage chance isn't good enough to like see it enough. 50%, it's happening 1 every 2 times. Sometimes more if you get lucky. But it saves you if you're fighting like a boss. Like if you're fighting Venom, he has that quick pullback heavy attack. Sometimes you can't get out of the way in time, and this saves me, so I don't die. Let me move over here. We've got willpower maxed. Even though it's nerfed, it's not as good as it used to be. I still have it. For each new type of detrimental effect on your champions suffer, they regenerate 0.7 health per second and gain plus 4 armor until the effect expires. No effects on robots. Willpower's still alright. I don't know if I would spend any units or anything on it now that it's bad, but I already had it unlocked, so I just left it. Then up here we have Coagulate. Your champions take 30% less damage from any bleed the effect they suffer. This helps especially with the new deep wounds. So instead of dying immediately from bleed, you get a chance to stay alive and continue fighting against your opponent. On top of that, since I had this, I get 4,500 5-star shards later tonight that I am looking forward to. If you had that unlocked or any of the suicide masteries, you get 4,500 per 3 levels. Moving on to the last tab, we're on utility. I've got Limber maxed out. Love Limber. Saves me sometimes when I get stunned, and then I can block quickly before they have a chance to attack because it runs out so quick. So basically, that just, when you get stunned, it reduces duration by 48%. And I've got 1 in parry because you really don't need any more than that. You just want the ability. 1 in dexterity. So dexterity, when you swipe back at the right time, you can evade any attack, even Iron Man's beam or anything like that. And parry, when you block at the exact right time, it stuns the attacker. So those 2 are game changers. Those are the #1 masteries I tell everyone to get. Parry and dexterity. And then over here I got Stupefy, which gives my stun an additional 0.5 seconds to last. So those are all my masteries, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll get back to you. But yeah, thanks for watching. Until next time, peace.